welcome to the press conference. I'm really excited to announce the release of a scientific study that's been compiled and done recently. We're 21st Century Education, many would know we're a leading education provider to provide a modern day education to replace what I consider the school and university education systems that are heavily outdated and not adjusted to the modern world. So we're really excited when we'll ask the opportunity for an independent study to be done on the quality of life improvements and the impact of what education can have on individuals. And I'm joined here today by Dr. Mo Durrani, who was behind that, and maybe I'll just hand it over to you to share, how did this come about?
Yeah, I think that's an important question as to how this study was developed, or at least how the research question was structured, or constructed for that matter. I was an attendee at the 4-day seminar conducted by the 21st Century Education that was held in the Gold Coast. And it was really in the first hour of the presentations that it came to my realization that a lot of people were being positively influenced and motivated. And the question that came to my mind was, how sustainable are these results? So once the 4 days is over and they walk away, how long are these results going to last? How are they contributing to their changes in their life? And can this be measured? And obviously with my scientific career, my answer was very quick. We need to formulate a survey to ask these questions and conduct a study on a cohort of attendees attending the 4-day seminar. And so I approached Jamie with the idea, and I'm glad he didn't find it as just a general sort of typical pitch, but rather sort of took this research question very seriously and gave me the go-ahead and said, we're conducting something similar to this in a few months' time in Melbourne, and I'm happy for you to independently research these questions that you presented to me.
Yeah, I think what was important, because at 21st Century, and I've had the experience the last 14 years being an educator, I've seen the positive impact that we as an organisation have had on clients and participants of our programs for 14 years. So I was certainly not threatened by an independent scientific study being done. I was rather confident that it would show that personal development and financial education are sustainable strategies that people can implement. So I was quite open to a study of this kind being done. To my knowledge, I believe it's the only scientific study that's been done on the personal development industry, or certainly on the financial education industry. As I know there's a lot of, if you say the critics of the industry is one that personal development is short term, the motivation wears off very quickly. It's probably one criticism. And as financial education, do the strategies actually work, and can everyday people apply them to improve the quality of their lives? So I think it's, you could perhaps say I could say for our industry as far as education, perhaps it's overdue for scientific studies to be done on what we would consider non-traditional education. Academic, tertiary, university, college type education has been around for a long time, but non-core or alternative education, I think a study like this can help address those key issues that many people may have of the value of alternate education.
Can I just jump in there for a second? The other sort of realization that I had was that a lot of these seminars, or similar sort of motivational or educational sort of seminars, they're heavily judged or valued or evaluated on standard feedback forms or testimonials. And yeah, they're impressive, but they're not in my eyes, and I'm a bit biased as a scientist, they're not very scientific. There's no quantifiable sort of measures. So that was one of my other sort of drives, to put some numbers to these changes that the attendees may or may not be experiencing through the seminars.
Yeah, I think that's important. So we'll open up for any questions that people may have on the scientific study and the results, or statistics, or anything in general.
Yeah, is this the first study of its kind?
It's a good question. To my knowledge, I believe it is. I'm not aware of any other scientific studies being done, certainly in the personal development industry. I'm sure you could.
I studied it extensively to try and find something similar in the setting of the cohort or demographic, if you like, of the attendees of such seminars. And again, just to reiterate what Jamie has said, to my knowledge, I could not identify or find anything that was similar. So I think this is quite, even though it's a pilot study, I think it's quite a groundbreaking study. being that it's novel, it's the first time it's ever been conducted. So it really sets the template or the platform for this to go much bigger, not just in 21st century or other sort of companies or organisations that provide similar sort of services, irrespective of where they may be in the world, that is.
Okay, and what are the main results?
The main results are quite exciting, actually. I know that Jamie likes to quote the 80% result, and so he should be proud of it. We found, before I go into the main results, I think it's important that the viewers know that there was several questions that were asked. So there was 10 items, of which 2 were excluded, and the questions sort of, cover areas of personal development, risk appetite, financial knowledge, mindset, life balance. And we found that almost 100% of those that completed the questionnaire reported at least a 1-unit scale of improvement after the 4-day. But more interestingly to me is that up to 80%, so a range of about 55 to 80%, sustain their results between the 4-day and the 60-day follow-up. And that's what I was looking for. That sustainability is what I was sort of researching, and we found some positive results there.
Which I think is exciting because it does address some of those key criticisms. It is motivational personal development short term. So where you have a shower and you feel you're clean, but then you have to have another shower the next day. Is it sustainable? So of course this is only a pilot study, and the study will continue to see the long-term impact in a scientific study, but we already know, certainly in 21st century education from the client success stories over a period of 14 years now, that for many people the changes are incredibly sustainable. But the fact that, I think for us, what I was looking at, the fact that almost 100% at least one scale up of improvement from attending the event, even that, before we look at the same sustainability issue, is certainly adds a lot of value, I think, in the power of education that is taught and is available to people.
And I think something that Jamie himself has sort of accepted quite conservatively is that with all research studies there's weaknesses and constraints, and that's obvious irrespective whether it's behavioural research, whether it's medical research, whether it's basic science research. There are always weaknesses to studies, and particularly with pilot studies. So you may be thinking you're almost 100% have 1-unit scale improvement in whatever parameter was being asked in the questionnaire, which is incredibly positive. There were those that remained the same, for example, and a very small percentage that had a 1-unit scale drop. And Jamie's attending to these with the same magnitude and interest and passion as he would with those that are showing an increase, because it's not necessarily about those that are gaining and improving and the seminar being beneficial to, is how can we remodel, perhaps make small modifications to the seminar so we can cater for everyone's individual needs, rather than running with that one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, I think that's, if you look at the criticism of traditional education, school in particular, is it is that one size fits all, and we know with learning, you look at people say like Sir Richard Branson, who was dyslexic, he was considered a failure at school, yet he's actually a very fast learner and is able to apply and become a billionaire through the Virgin Group as an example. Steve Jobs is another one that struggled with the typical education system and actually quit uni because he was forced to follow a preset curriculum. So a lot of traditional education is that one size fits all, and so for a study like this is very beneficial to us as an 21st Century as an education organisation to look at that as far as how do we improve the delivery of the education in a way that people can even sustain the results longer.